like to call this meeting to order at 6:30.
Members of the public can view the meeting live on YouTube, and the link is posted on the agenda. Members of the public are hereby notified that meetings of the Board of Directors are recorded, and requests for video recordings may be made to the clerk of the board. If a member of the public wishes to make a general public comment or a comment on a certain agenda item, please submit a blue speaker card to the clerk of the board, and speaker cards are available at the table at the back. Before we move on to the pledge, I'd like to welcome up Director of Parks and Recreation, Jill Nuns, to lead us in a moment of silence.
Hi. If you wouldn't mind joining me in a moment of silence for Nina Siner's husband, Eric, who passed away on February 7th. He lost his battle with cancer. So please join me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. And at this time, I'd like to welcome up Dayton Houston, Park Maintenance Worker 1 with the district, to lead us in the pledge. And after the pledge, Park Services Superintendent Jim Morales will say a few words.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Chair Langen and members of the board. Dayton Houston joined the district in 2024 as a seasonal member of the Park Service landscape crew, and after excelling through a highly competitive recruitment process, he was promoted to Park Maintenance Worker 1 on the detail crew in February of 2025. Houston brings a positive attitude and a strong work ethic to the work every single day. He's well liked and highly respected by his peers, contributing humor, warmth, and an uplifting presence to team gatherings and daily operations. His outstanding customer service is constantly recognized by community members who frequently call and email to praise his prompt, friendly, and attentive support throughout our parks. At the year-end Park Services event, Dayton's teammates honored him by voting him the department MVP, naming him the Park Services Employee of the Year, a well-deserved recognition and his dedication and impact. We are proud to have Houston as a valued member of the Park Services team and look forward to the continued contributions he'll bring to the district in the years ahead. Thank you. Yeah. Thank
you. Houston, there is no problem.
No speech? Do you want to say something, Houston? Hey, Houston, do you want to say something?
Houston, you want to say something? I'm so nervous, but I just want to say thanks to everybody. I love working for this company. It's not work, it's just loving what I do. So that's all I can say right now. And thank you for having me here. I want to let you guys down.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Let's move to item number 2, standing action item.
This is the portion of the meeting where we deal with any requests to join remotely through SB 707. We received no requests under the emergency cause provisions and will list it as no action taken.
Item number 3, roll call.
Director Sloan?
Present.
Director Danzel?
Here.
Vice Chair Mattis?
Here.
Chair Langen?
Here.
And we received advance notification that Secretary Yearwood would be absent this evening. In the absence of the secretary, it is recommended that the chairperson appoint the vice chair to perform duties of the secretary for tonight's meeting. In this instance, the vice chair would sign documents approved at this meeting as vice chair/acting secretary.
I appoint Vice Chair Mattis to perform the duties of the secretary for tonight's meeting. And we can move to B, comments by public.
No.
Members of the public may address the board on topics within the district's jurisdiction that are not listed on this agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. It is a violation of state law for the board to discuss or take action on non-agenda items. Board members may only briefly ask clarifying questions or refer the matter to staff. And at this time, we've received no speaker cards. However, is there anyone who would like to make a public comment? And seeing none, I will turn it back over to you.
All right. Item C, consent calendar.
Consent calendar items are considered administratively routine and will be acted upon in one motion unless separate action on a specific item is necessary. The chairperson will consider any requests for discussion on the items prior to the approval of the consent calendar. And this evening, we have 3 items for your consideration. And at this time, we received no speaker cards. And seeing none, I will turn it back over to you.
Are there any items the board members would like to pull from the consent calendar?
No, sir.
Nope. All right. We can vote on the remaining items.
Chair Langen, I move that the board
Or do I have a motion?
approve items C1, C2, and C3.
I second that motion.
So we have a motion by Director Danzel and a second by Director Sloan.
Director Sloan?
Aye.
Director Danzel?
Aye.
Vice Chair Mattis?
Aye.
Chair Langen?
Aye.
And Secretary Yearwood is absent.
And let's move to D, presentations.
Item D1, final feasibility studies for the center property and the Mather Sports Center, February 2026, as prepared by ArchNexus. Informative presentation only, receive and file, no action to be taken by the Board of Directors. And at this time, we received no speaker cards. And seeing none, I'd like to welcome up Peter McBride, Principal with ArchNexus. Peter will go through the presentation, and then there will be a time for board questions at the end of the presentation.
All right, well, thank you. Members of the board, we're really excited to be here. And it looks like the presentation's coming up. There we go. This has been a long time coming, and we're really excited. I apologize, my voice is a little rough, but my enthusiasm and excitement for this is still there, and we're really excited. Just to kind of go over a few things that we'll be presenting tonight. We'll do quick overview and introductions. We'll talk about the center property and the results from that study. We'll look at the Mather Sports Center and the results from that. And then we'll kind of end with kind of a summary and how we move forward from there. So I always want to recognize the team. This is not just me. Obviously, there's a lot of people involved in this, and I want to recognize Terracon, our environmental, Ballard King and Associates, Capital Engineering, the Engineering Enterprise, KPFF, and the Cumming Group. With me tonight, and will be helping me present some of this, is Miguel Cortez, project manager at Architectural Nexus, has been working on this with me, and Steve Byerly, and the senior associate with Ballard King and Associates, will be presenting a few of the things as well. Just a reminder, we got the 2 properties, and really looking at the synergy between them. And I think that was a really important part of this study, is what can we learn from both, and how can they help inform each other. I'm going to introduce now Miguel Cortez, who's going to walk us through the center property and the results of the environmental analysis for that. So we partnered with Terracon. Unfortunately, Terracon could not make it today, so I will be accepting the award. Presenting their findings.
Congratulations, that's the award. It's the mic award.
Is this better? All right. So Terracon provided a number of services, which included a Phase 1 environmental site assessment, also known as an ESA, a limited site investigation, a hazardous materials building survey, a wetland delineation, and remediation estimates. The Phase 1 ESA is essentially a historical and government agency records review, and their findings are that the property was undeveloped up until 1900, and then it was developed into a farmstead from 1909 to 1970, or early 1970s, and then it was developed into a shooting range from the late 1970s up until 2018. They also found that the site overlays with impacted groundwater plume associated with the Aerojet Superfund release. And so the 2 recognized environmental conditions that they identified was the potential for lead and copper release associated with the shooting range operations, as you might expect, and the potential for vapor intrusion associated with the Aerojet groundwater plume.
The recommendations were to conduct a limited site investigation to evaluate those two conditions. The limited site investigation included some soil sampling at the skeet and short range shooting ranges, as well as soil vapor sampling. The lead concentrations, unfortunately, were way, way high. And the zones in red, as you can see here on the picture on the left, are considered California hazardous waste thresholds, or way above those thresholds, which essentially is considering this site as a toxic landfill. The soil vapor analysis also consider this above the threshold for unrestricted land use. The summary of findings concluded that there's an estimated 20 acres of land that are above the unrestricted land use within the skeet range, skeet shooting range, and about 12 of those acres have concentrations that are classified as the California hazardous waste. In the short shooting range, essentially the entire area is impacted with lead, and most of the soils can be classified as California hazardous waste. The recommendations by Terracon is to provide additional characterization of the soil and engage with California regulatory agencies. They also provided hazardous material building survey, which sampled the pistol range structure, the utility building, and the retail building, and they tested for asbestos, lead, polychlorinated biphenyls or PCBs, universal waste, tritium smoke detectors, regulated refrigerants and mechanical or building equipment. And of course, they found asbestos in building materials as expected, and lead in paint and ceilings. PCBs were not detected, but others that were mercury, and suspect PCB in light ballast and mechanical equipment with refrigerants. They provided a wetland survey, which identified Morrison Creek that bisect the southeast corner of the lot, and is classified as waters of the U.S. As such, it would be regulated under the Clean Water Act. Any features that with direct surface connectivity to that would fall under that Clean Water Act as well. Seasonal vernal pools shown here in orange are identified on the site, and those are under the jurisdiction of the waters of the state and regulated by the state and regional water boards. They also identified this property as a habitat for several state and federally listed threatened and endangered species. So in conclusion, there's a high volume of permitting, surveying, monitoring requirements for any future development. The remediation estimates that they provided, they looked at a number of options for remediation, but the option that is most recommended and probably the best bang for the buck is soil stabilization, off-hauling, and disposal. And they estimated $22.5 million. The soil vapor mitigation for any future development really depends on the development and the footprint, but it would range about $55 to $130,000. And then the hazardous material abatement and demolition, which would abate any hazardous materials and demolish the structures and dispose them, would be about $300,000. And for that, for the next, I'll leave it to Peter.
It's not what we'd hoped for, but I think it's really, really valuable information. And I think in an ideal situation, you know, in an ideal world, and what our plan was originally was to really study these two simultaneously and look at development options for both.
the Mather Sports Center property and the Mather Sports Center, and the center property. But as you can see from what we learned, it really was not what we thought was feasible, and so we focused our attention and studies on the Mather property. So just a quick recap of that. Remember the last time we were here, we went through that whole analysis and looked at what was included. We looked at all the studies, the site observations, programming, did a facility condition index report, really to ask you whether we should move forward with a repair option or replacement option. And just a reminder that back in July, you gave direction to move forward on replacement. And so we're gonna now show you today kind of what that study looks like and how we move forward. So the next steps that we had talked about doing were community outreach, some programming, and some concept designs, and that's what we want to give you an update on today. And just so you know, there's a lot of content in this presentation. I'm going to go pretty fast because I know you guys have a lot to go over tonight. So if there's any, if you see anything that you want to come back to, maybe make a quick note and we can review that later. All right, so during the community outreach included a number of different events. Farmers Market, we did a community event. We had boards up at both the Mather Sports Center and the pool for about a month. And an online survey was conducted for about a month and a half. And we got a lot of different results from a lot of different areas. And so I'm not going to go through all this, but there's a lot of results here. And some of the big things that we found, it was really interesting, really kind of coincided with some of the high items that came out of the optimized plan as well. And so that helped verify that what we were hearing was consistent and accurate. So you see things like fitness studio, walking, jogging, tracks, weightlifting, pickleball. I say pickleball, but that you'll see that in every survey. And rock climbing, those were some of the top ones. And then for the center property, I want to show you the results of that because there's a lot of synergy and some things that we learned from that we think are valuable as we move forward with Mather property potentially. And so you see a lot of similarities and then some new stuff as it relates to some outdoor types of activities that we think could be possibly included. One question, there was a lot of other questions, but one I wanted to bring to your attention was a question that we asked is, do you currently use the Mather Sports Center? And about half the respondents said no. And we asked a follow-up question of why not, and either they didn't know about it or the location was not easy to get to or was some kind of barrier. I think there's something to be learned there and then moving forward. And that's a few things like maybe the naming might be an issue. Maybe it needs to represent more of a district-wide rather than a particular community, not realizing that it's for everybody. The location on the site might be helpful. Maybe we can move it closer to Matherfield Road, and so it's more visible. Visibility might be an issue, and then how we can access it. I know it's a little difficult. You have to kind of drive around the quote block to even find the entrance. So some key takeaways are the need to make it a little bit more known, and then obviously we created a long list of all the desired programs and spaces. I'm going to let Steve talk a little bit about the market research side of it. So we heard from the community and got a lot of really good feedback, all of which is in the report. But Steve's work helped verify that was indeed accurate. So Steve.
All right. I'm old school. Notes here. Anyway, okay, yeah. So one thing you're always looking for when you do the market survey is it verify, is it validate the results of the surveys and the other things, and it's very consistent. And you look in there, but starting out with key market facts, the key items on that are the median household income, and you guys are just shy of 100K as a median household income. Oh.
That's the one that they see.
Oh, okay, well, we'll shift. Okay. All righty, okay, yeah. So the current service area is, about 96 square miles, population about 135,000, median age. Median household income is, as I say, just shy of 100,000, so you guys are just getting there. But a really key metric is a percent earning 75,000 or more. That seems to be kind of a threshold where people above that are much more likely to participate in the type of activities we want in the center. And then households with children, that's a relatively high number there as well, so that's good. Okay, anyway, Market Potential Index. What that is it's developed by ESRI, Environmental Systems Research Institute, and they study all of these things nationally and figure out what the market potential is in every community across the country. And they come up with a number of 100, which is the average across the country. And then we pull the data very specific to CRPD. And you see in those numbers there that they're all but one is above 100, and that, 99. So anyway, and then I also put that together with the projected additional participants, and you can see that obviously there's a lot of growth there as well. So you like basketball, even though it's only a 99, you see there, it's got the most projected additional participants of any of the team sports or anything, and it's a big sport. So even though that the market potential looks a little lower, it's still really strong.
Thanks, Steve. So we looked at both the community outreach, combined that with the results of the market analysis to kind of start to create a list of potential program elements that ought to be included in a new recreation center. And so you see kind of some of these top ones that we sorted it by both MPI and by community outreach. And what we found was that those top 5 roughly were the same. Now, they went up and down within, but that really helped instill confidence in both the community engagement results and the market analysis to show that, hey, these two are telling us the same information and we can trust this. We also looked at the center property and the results of that, both from an MPI standpoint and a community engagement standpoint, and found some really cool synergies, a lot of similarities as the Mather, but also some outdoor activities like food truck courts, community marketplace, and some of these outdoor things that we think can now be used potentially at the Mather Sports Center. It was about this time as we were going through this process that we started to get a sense of the results of the center property. And so before that, we were looking at, could some of this, what are the different scenarios between Mather and center, and how can we maybe combine or shift one to another? And then once we kind of realized that the center property we needed to hold back on, we tried to come up with a list of activities that could be included in the Mather Sports property for a new recreation center. And so you see here, like the ones in purple are ones from the Mather Outreach. The ones from green are from center property results, and then the ones in orange, the purple are both. Purple are both, so you see a lot of overlap there. The orange is from the Mather specifically. And so this is kind of the beginning of the program that influenced what that center can actually be. We took those results and created a couple scenarios, and a few of you saw these at one of the outreach events. We looked at, do we want to look at this as a more sports-focused center, or something that gives opportunities for a lot of different things and includes more multi-purpose and community-focused types of activities? The results, both from the one event and about a month-long online survey, resulted in a little bit more affinity for the recreation center that would include both sports and community focused spaces. Along with that, we did some design research on other both local and national recreation centers, and to see what some of the trends that they were doing, how they incorporated, what are maybe some ideas that we might include as well. All in all, it kind of evolved into 2 approaches. One would be a large building, which is kind of the ideal scenario. That would be a roughly 57,000 square feet, more of a tournament style with 3 full courts. connections to Matherfield Road with new drives, and a large cost of about 92 million. But this is kind of that, if we do everything that the research shows, this would be the ideal scenario. We also looked at a similar size building to the existing Mather Sports Center. So roughly about 24,000 square feet. One court gymnasium, so same as the existing facility. We would kind of keep the same drive entries that exist now, but add some parking. And those costs came in at about 42 million, so about half the cost. And I'll go through the details now. So before I jump into the details of those two options, just we did explore lots of siting opportunities on the existing property. We ended up exploring both of these for the study in the location that now has that one baseball field for a few different reasons. One, it allows the existing center to remain operational during construction. So in a different site, that can stay operational while we build it. The second thing is that because it's really close to the Matherfield Road, it creates that visual identity and visual connection to more of the general public. It's more visible. And third, it maintains the existing parking and then allows for additional parking nearby a new facility. This is kind of, you can't read this, I know, and that's on purpose, but this shows like the different categories and the program that was kind of studied, and includes lots of different activity spaces based on all the results earlier. The site plan, we included spaces for additional parking because we know that's an issue. This one does include some new connections off Matherfield Road, which I think is worth exploring for a number of reasons. And then it includes a number of outdoor spaces. I'm just going to spend almost no time on this, but it shows how we incorporated and where we incorporated some of the issues that came up during community engagement. So this might be a floor plan of what would be included in that. And I want to spend a little bit of time on this because it's exciting. We're excited about it. And I think it shows a lot of the things that could be happening here. So a big 3-court gymnasium. You would enter kind of in this lobby space, and immediately, and you probably can't see my mouse, but that's fine. You'd immediately kind of see all the things that are available. And I think that was really important to the research that we did and to our design philosophy moving forward, is being able to walk in and see all the things. Because right now, the Mather Sports Center, you've got a lot of interest in organized events and organized sports and clubs. Like, they only go there if they signed up for a volleyball clinic. And when you go there, you don't know anything else that's available currently. So we think doing the opposite is really important. You come here and you immediately see a rock climbing wall. You see a speed ramp in the distance. You see a multi-purpose room. You see a walking, jogging path right above you. You see a weight room and a mezzanine right above you. And you start to see all these other opportunities that you might not have known existed. And I think that's a really important part moving forward. So that kind of that second floor kind of showcases how some of that could work. A sketch of what this might look like from Matherfield Road. We think it's a lot. If we push it out there, it can become a lot more visible. You can showcase some naming opportunities, some signage in the building potentially, and get glimpses of activities that are kind of happening. Maybe there's a big window that you can see people running around the jogging track or something like that. So you get glimpses of activity and life from the road that you might not see otherwise. And then the entry sequence, you walk in and you can start to get a glimpse of all the different things that are happening. You can see the jogging, walking path above you, and it's all right there. All right, let's talk about money. So I did want to break this out. The end result I've already mentioned is estimated at 92 million, but it includes everything. And this shows that the cost of actually building the building would be about 55 million. We do have a really healthy design contingency of 20% built into that number, and escalation through the midpoint of construction in 2029, potentially. And so we don't want any surprises. These numbers would reflect a moment in time in the future. And then that also includes FF&E, so furnitures, fixtures, some equipment, and it does reflect maybe leasing some of the fitness equipment potentially. And then all the soft costs that are included to make a project a reality. All right.
That includes tearing down the old one, right?
It includes demolition.
Demolition, okay.
Yeah, both of these include demolition of the existing building. Yep. All right, Steve's going to talk through the operational costs as well, because I think that's a really important thing to consider moving forward.
Okay. So for the large building there, you see the concept one, the pro forma, and the membership number you see there is based on 1% of the population of the district becoming members of the center, which is relatively consistent for a district or an area this size with what we observe elsewhere. The punch card emissions program, all those costs were based on the current fees and then obviously projected into the future. And you can see I go down the year, 1 through 5. Personnel, again, based on current salaries and compensation, so that and projected into the future. And you'll see significant growth in the first couple of years, and then typically it will kind of flatten out a little bit after that. But you end up with a cost recovery in year 1 of 63%, going up to almost 70 in year 5, which is, again, is pretty consistent with what we observe across the country. Personnel, I always like to look at the personnel percent there, and it starts at 61 and pretty much stays there through year 5.
All right, let's look at the second option, which is a little smaller and maybe a little less expensive, but it includes a lot of similar programs that are existing now, but with some new ones. Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Because it was flat.
No.
Oh,
Now it's coming.
now it's coming back. Okay.
Okay, good. All right, second option. Again, includes additional parking, because we know that's an issue no matter what we do. This one, it keeps and maintains the existing entrances as a way to kind of keep the costs down and look at an alternative approach, but does include some outdoor space and walking paths and other amenities. Again, how we would incorporate some of those design features requested through the outreach. And similarly, that same kind of design philosophy, wanting to kind of shop the options, if you will. Walk in and you see a walking path floating right above your head, shown there on that dashed line. You see some multi-purpose fitness rooms right across. You see a weight room right above you. You see the gym to the left and get glimpses of what's happening in there. And you see rock climbing wall in the distance with a stair going up to those spaces. So you know how to get there as well, not just that they're there, and how that might kind of incorporate into that. With both of these, also looking at outdoor spaces and how those programmatic elements could be used, maybe rooftop patios that are private fitness rooms, taking advantage of the environment that we live in, and maybe what that entrance and feel might look like, and getting glimpses of the activities that are happening in there as a way to advertise and bring excitement to the space. All right, money. Similar breakdown. Hard costs, escalation and design, additional costs, soft costs, and the total of $42 million. Again, it does include demolition of the existing building and even all of the site work and parking that was shown on that site plan.
For the smaller numbers, and I didn't say small numbers, but the smaller numbers.
Less big.
Yeah. So anyway, again, concept 2 here, and you see, I'm not going to read through that. You can look at that. But if you get down to the bottom, the cost recovery is a little bit less. And really, there's only about $100,000 difference between the large and the small as far as the operating surplus deficit or what you would need to subsidize. So, but you'd serve a heck of a lot more people for that. So it's actually much more efficient because you take all the fixed costs and they're spread out further. They don't increase as much. So anyway. So you end up, as I say, you start out cost recovery 57.3, it gets up to 65. So we do start getting, I like to see get up to 70% or more, obviously. And then your payroll percentage on this one's a little bit higher because you're going to have a little more activity in it.
You want to go through the partnerships?
No, we're right into partnerships. Okay, partnerships. On a call, we had a long discussion about different types of partnerships. So I've broken them down into the four different types of, four categories here. And it's important to be aware of that, as the way you approach doing fundraising or generating the partnership will change based on what type of your connection or a partnership you're looking for. Okay. Okay, yeah, anyway. There's 5 types of major funders: financial, community, investment organizations, healthcare. You have a lot of opportunity there. Here, community business partners, foundation, nonprofits are going to be more interested in like operating and things of that nature. And then, of course, you're always wonderful, had that deep-pocketed, high potential individual donor. And then you're looking at different types of financial support, capital for construction, obviously, with the big numbers there, you can get some help there. And then, somebody will look at, I want to build a certain space. In fact, one I'm familiar with, a hospital paid to build a therapy pool. So you can do that. And of course, naming rights, and then somebody will say, well, FF&E assistants will buy all your basketballs. And then on the next slide, right there, okay. The capital campaign pyramid model. In the report, you'll see I get quite in depth on the capital campaign. I worked for the Salvation Army for 20 years, and they're really, really good at capital campaigns. And so I've learned an awful lot there. And one of the key elements is there are people who do this for a living. The Salvation Army will probably do $500 million in capital campaigns in a year, but they outsource all of it. So anyway, but yeah, so there are potential naming rights. And again, these numbers are just an example of what a pyramid would look like and what they should show you if you go down this road. Anyway, full facility name, and then an individual name, gymnasium, fitness, and then you build this pyramid. You want to get that lead gift. Yeah, because that lead gift, the others will tend to follow. Nobody wants to be the first one to write the check, right? So I'm familiar with one in San Diego where got a lead gift, I believe it was like $50 million, and then they ended up with another 20 or 30 million following that. So that, and then as you go down the pyramid, the lower amounts, you really need to have more people. So you can imagine the approach at each of these levels is significantly different.
All right, last time we switched, we're almost done. If oh man, I need to just, I won't touch it, I promise. I'll just put my hands back here. Okay, you're good. If full funding isn't realized, potentially, we think there's some other alternatives that are worth at least considering moving forward. And some of these might make it in your plan, but a few things to keep in mind is that you could keep that program that's been developed in the list of ideas and find another property, like the center property, that it could work out and it could be beneficial. You could split up the program into some smaller chunks, and maybe it's spread out throughout the district. Maybe you find certain neighborhoods that need parts of it more than others, and you could do that. Or smaller versions of that throughout. Another option with the Mather Sports Center, because we know it's in pretty bad shape and doesn't have much of a lifespan, and if we want to limit the amount you continue to pump into it, maybe it's demoed and you focus on maybe outdoor types of activities that can be included. Maybe provide a shade structure, outdoor basketball. Maybe there's some other pavilion type spaces that could be done there as well. So a few different options to consider. And then lastly, and in summary, and we're getting there, the center property, as Miguel mentioned, I think before anything can really be done, regulatory agencies need to be engaged and the hazardous materials need to be mitigated. It's expensive, and the high cost to mitigate that before you can even do anything is likely infeasible. However, it's really important to review the deed and some of the restrictions associated with that to see what we can do, maybe who might be a partner or potential way to deal with that, and see what's available. With the Mather, with a new recreation center there, and it could be named all sorts of fun things. I think it's time to kind of maybe move forward. or at least the study allows you to move forward with potential bond or financial preparation, capital campaign that Steve talked about. Maybe we start looking at alternative sites and then getting an implementation plan prepared to kind of phase it over the next few years or however long you decide. That's our presentation. So a lot in a shortish amount of time, and we're available for questions if you have any.
All right, start down at the end. Director Sloan?
Well, this is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I appreciate the work you pour into this. Looking at the center property is going to be a more difficult thing. It's more challenging than I think we were thinking of at this point. So my focus is on the Mather area, Mather Sports Center, and I like the idea that it's a lot of glass. I don't know who's cleaning all that glass.
Huh, yeah. It's just a concept. Yeah.
And that would,
Yeah.
right. But I like the idea of the open concept. When you walk in and you see a lot of the stuff going on. I know that, I'm sure we're not talking that's final design, because the designs look very kind of cookie cutter to me.
Correct.
You know,
Yeah.
like you put AI to work and that's what we came up with, kind of a thing. I don't know. I'm just guessing that. I don't see any racquetball or pickleball court rooms, breakout rooms on any of the schematics either, so.
Yeah, there's a number of multi-purpose rooms that can be designed for that. Racquetball, we talked a lot about, and we looked at the results of that. I'm a racquetball player, and I wanted so desperately to find room for that. The MPI research that we did indicate that it's slowing down significantly. The community outreach results didn't offer a whole lot of support, and so we felt that other opportunities took priority. Now, at any point, we can include it back in if there's more
So
support.
your vision is these multi-purpose rooms, a big open space that could be, you could have a big conference in there, you know?
Yeah,
you
you could have conferences, meetings.
Or
You could
setting
do
up,
Pilates.
but what about
do-
pickleball courts? You'd have to.
You
you'd
could
have
stripe
to-
it, yeah. So the gym is where we anticipate most of the pickleball striping to occur.
Oh, you mean
and then bringing in the nets for
While
that.
they're playing basketball?
Yeah, so there would be divider curtains brought down so that you could do simultaneous
Yeah, I
sports.
just,
We currently have that out there.
I know, but it's sort of not the same.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let my other directors talk, and I want to hear what they have to say too. But thank you for your work.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you for the work. These are two major properties in our district, and we know that there's some things that need to be done on them. It's a big undertaking, just looking at what you've presented us, and know that took some serious time. It's early in the design stage on both concept 1 and concept 2, so I'm not
Yep.
going to nitpick there. Dollar amounts, those unfortunately did not shock me. Seeing those numbers, in today's market, those numbers don't they scare me, obviously, but I didn't expect, much less, honestly, from that. I just want to say thank you for the work, and it's a lot for us to spend some time going over
Sure.
now and seeing what our next steps are. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for your time, the research, everything you guys have done. It's very in-depth, very thorough. I just have a question. What is unrestricted land use? What does that mean?
Oh, yeah. Talking about this on the center property.
Yeah.
So unrestricted, and maybe Miguel can help me out here, but. Yeah, go ahead. That means that you can essentially build anything you want on unrestricted land
Okay.
use. Yeah, yeah. What's allowed by code,
Okay. And then
otherwise, yeah.
there's no trust funds or grants or anything like a lawsuit from Aerojet that are out there to clean up their plume or.
I'll answer that.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, the Aerojet properties that are being cleaned up per federal requirements. This is a discovery. We didn't know that the plume had extended into our property. So there will be a call to Aerojet and finding out if there's any relief they can find if we choose to move forward with developing the property. Yeah.
And then with the environmental concerns, you know, with in regards to the wetlands and the endangered species, like how much acreage do we lose of development out there that we would have to maintain, like the creek, the vernal pools?
I can't answer that directly.
Okay.
If Terracon were here, they could, and we can provide that information to you. However, I do know that Morrison Creek is likely off limits. I know that there are opportunities to mitigate some of the vernal pools by offsetting, as you've seen throughout the neighborhood.
Yeah.
With reserves and things, so there's ways of overcoming that. I don't know the actual acreage at this point, but we can provide that.
Okay.
And it might be in the report, but we'll make sure it's.
So some of the mitigation that we have seen is that you can exchange wetland for wetland
Okay.
properties, but in this particular case, there is contamination inside Morrison Creek at this point that we found.
Yeah.
So therefore, further investigation, further
But it's
delineation.
growing great.
I know, right?
Yeah, I know. It's
More
growing
money
in the field.
spent on finding how much it's going to cost for
Right
us
now
to
it's-
not use the wetland.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
So,
know.
yeah, it's disappointing. I think we
Yeah.
were all kind of disappointed in the reality of
Yeah.
what we thought, in that we were, to be honest, thinking we would cap it in place, and that would be something acceptable so that we could put a building on it as like a foundation or parking lot. But unfortunate, this enormity of the level of contamination dictates that it needs to be removed from the site.
Yeah.
So I fought that one though, as you can contest.
We went the
And,
rounds on that for
yeah.
sure,
And
and
so I'm
we were right
still
there with
gonna-
you.
I'm still
So
gonna challenge
you couldn't
that.
you couldn't cover the surface with 2 feet of
No.
soil. You have to take
Yeah.
2 feet out.
So 20 acres at 2 feet,
Yeah.
that all has to be
Yeah.
placed somewhere. You could do it on site. However, you
Yeah.
become a landfill. You have to do constant monitoring, inspections, and it becomes, we talked with Terracon a number of times, it becomes even more expensive
And
and
it sits
onerous.
for years.
Well,
as it's
the other
run down.
part of that too, that, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that this was a study for it to be a park. And so if we were to be able to work with the federal government to change the deed in so that we could have other opportunities besides it being open space or park, it could lead us to a potential of having that not have to be removed, maybe, depending on what would be built on that property.
Oh, so
Isn't
you-
that a great way that I just put that?
Yeah, potentially. yes.
potential? So there's
There's
some
potential. It's all
But
potential.
if you made it open land park, you'd have to clean it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's
Okay.
what the study was based off of, the
Okay.
premise, because the deed dictates that it has to be park and open space. So they
That's
just did
what-
the study on that premise, it being,
So if we
What
just
it-
asphalted over, concreted over, and did
well, I mean, you
Yeah.
could turn it into potentially, I'm just putting it out there, you could turn it into commercial space, possibly, and just have like parking lots, grocery stores, whatever. Just as an
okay,
example, as a potential, and it's a potential, but not necessarily recommended because the frame of what the study was based on the deed restrictions of it being open space and park. So we didn't go into depth with that too closely because it's not part of what we're looking at this point. It's not an option for us to look at until we speak with the federal government on the potential of changing some of the deed language to give us a little more flexibility.
But if you say you're gonna develop an office complex, that's not park-related, that's not recreation.
Well, that's what I just said. It was that if we are able to change the deed.
Right, but are they gonna change the deed and then let us
Oh, we have no idea.
get all the benefits? Or would the government just take that land back and then?
We
say-
don't know yet. That's gonna be a phone call soon after
Government's
this
gonna
meeting.
take it away from us.
Yeah, we
They're
did
gonna
not study
sell it
that.
Um,
But then, I mean, you still have the lead, it's
We
still
still
on
have
site,
the lead.
and you would have to do continuous.
Correct.
you know,
Somebody's
that.
gonna have to do it.
You become
eventually.
classified as a landfill at that point.
Yeah.
Question was, any thought, we're gonna demolish a giant building area, and we're gonna take away a baseball field. And was there much thought that went into the area that, what would replace that building that's not gonna be there anymore?
Parking lot.
The parking lot.
You see it
Yeah.
as a parking lot?
Yeah, more parking spaces.
Yeah,
That's where we
additional
need it.
parking spaces is what we started looking at. We still feel like we can maintain
What's this right here?
the rink.
Oh, this is the
Yes,
building?
yeah, we call that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah, you can kind of see that underneath that purple area, you kind of start to see the footprint of the existing building there.
Okay.
And then on the smaller building, could it be designed as a phase one, where that's the size, and then there could be the potential
Absolutely.
with the extra?
That's a,
to-
yeah,
okay.
that's a great idea, especially with the three-core gym. It's very modular. You can continue to build out, and if we master plan it for that,
Okay.
because you could master plan it and then,
Because you have
and then
that
grow it over
space,
time. Yeah.
so it's just,
yeah, maintain that
that'd be-
space either as open space or field or something, and then grow it over time, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Just want to say thank you. A lot of work done, obviously. And as much as like, oh, the big number hits and you're like, ooh,
Yeah.
it's a reality
Yeah.
that we have to face and we have to figure out what to do. And so just thank you very much for all the hard work that you guys put in.
All right, thank you. All right.
Thank you very much. We appreciated it, all of the work.
Well, we're personally invested and
Yeah.
we're excited, whatever
Yeah.
happens.
And thank you for pivoting.
Yeah, I mean, that's
We
part of
pivoted a lot, so.
That's part of a study. You learn things and
Yeah.
you shift, and this is all, like, it might hurt a little bit, but it's really valuable information.
Oh, it's
and now
great.
you can act on it.
Yeah,
You're
that's
hurt
great.
because it's your community.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Who put the gun range there? Was that part of the federal
That was,
government?
yeah, we
That was
inherited it as a shooting center, and then we just maintained the operation. So it came from the Mather Air Force. It was a recreation shooting center for their
There's no,
military families.
no trust fund or.
Well, if there was, it wouldn't have been a shooting center for very long. No, unfortunately, there's not.
Dirt.
There's a war story in that, but back in the day, we had an
The
option to
mics
get
are
the
very
land.
hot.
Okay.
All right. For community reports, I see nothing. For public hearings, nothing. That brings us to G, regular calendar.
Item G1, approve a name for the future community park in the Grant Line 208 Arista del Sol development projects. And at this time, we received no speaker cards. And seeing no public comment, I turn it over to Principal Planner Kanu Yang.
Hi. I'm a little shorter, so I'll take the mic a little down. Alrighty. Good evening, Chair and members of the board. Once again, my name is Kanu Yang. I am a principal planner here at CRPD. And today, staff is requesting that the board approve a name for the approximate 17-acre future community park located within the Grant Line 208 and Arista del Sol development project known as the Cypress Grove Development Area. This future park consists of two parcels being dedicated to the district under two separate park development agreements, a 6.5-acre parcel from the Grant Line 208 subdivision, which is owned by Lennar, and a 10.68-acre parcel from the Arista del Sol subdivision, which is owned by Woodside. These parcels are located on the west side of Cypress Grove Drive, directly across from a new elementary school currently under construction. Once combined, and with the addition of the city's regional bike trail that's to the north, the park will total an approximate of 17 acres. The board approved the final concept plan on December 17, 2025, allowing the project to move forward through implementation as development milestones are met. Roadway constructions along Americanos, which forms the park's western boundary, is now anticipated to be completed by 2026. The approved concept plan reflects an extensive community engagement and aligns with the district's optimized plan and design standards. Some key features, as you guys can see in the concept plans, are a multi-use sports field with a central cricket pitch, 6 pickleball courts, a multi-use sports court for futsal and basketball, 2 inclusive age-separated playgrounds, a 6-stall restroom building, large and small picnic shelters, and an open lawn and meadow areas with low watering landscaping. The theme design was described as Cricket Meadows, integrated active recreation with natural-based elements inspired by the adjacent habitat area. Following the concept plan approval, staff conducted an online naming survey which closed on January 23rd, 2026, and we received a total of 34 submissions. So therefore, in accordance to Park Planning Policy 1.27, staff recommends removing names that are duplicate or closely resembles existing district parks, require that to separate the individual naming process, and reference non-local or parody-based naming trends. The board retains final decision or discretion in selecting the park name, and there's no direct financial impact. Signage costs are included in construction funding through the development impact fees, and ongoing maintenance will be funded through CFD 2018-01. So therefore, staff respectfully request approval of a name for the future community park. But you guys do have the list. So thank you, and that's the end.
Can we bring the list up on, do we have the list on the line? Is it in the packet?
No.
You would have to go on the website to look at the agenda packet.
It's
The
page
list
88.
itself isn't on there.
If,
Yeah.
if we were to
Does
go
the
through
board
it.
have?
Yeah.
Okay.
We
cool.
should all
Yeah,
have it.
it's in the staff report.
Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Miley.
I'm going to start with comment by Director Sloan.
Okay, I'm gonna go right to the meat of this. I don't know why we're changing the name of it, other than calling it Arista del Sol Community Park. Arista del Sol means a ridge of the sun. You can't just call it Del Sol Park. That would just be of the sun, and Arista would be a ridge. So the other ones, I don't know if they make sense. They aren't as good sounding to me. I don't see anything that really sticks out as something I think our park should be named after. That's my 2 cents.
All right. Director Danzel?
You know, I'm gonna go real simple and go against Director Sloan this time, but I would go, it's similar to a name here, just add the word community, so Cricket Meadows Community Park.
Cricket Meadows.
I mean, we've got, I mean,
It's not just cricket.
And Vice Chair Secretary Mattis.
Good one.
Thank you. Gonna go with Board Member Danzel on this, but add Cricket Hopper Meadows Community Park,
Cricket
because
Hopper?
you got the cricket with the cricket field, then you have hopper, grasshopper with the grasshopper play structure in there. Now I know cricket. I looked it up to see if there was Cricket Hopper Park or whatever, but Cricket Hopper is a thing for fly fishing. The term for fishing on there, but I think for us, you know, I like the cricket, the grass, because it's a grasshopper. It's not a cricket. Or that's the way I look at it there. So that's the way I kind of look at it there. It's a longer name, but kind of adds both. It's the Cricket Hopper Meadows Community Park. Or did you have Meadows in there?
no,
Okay,
just,
so Cricket Hopper Park.
or no, Cricket Meadows Community Park is what I said.
Okay, so then Cricket Hopper Community Park.
There's also pickleball and basketball and all the other stuff in there.
But these are the attractions. You got the cricket field and this play structure for the kids, because that's a very unique feature for the park.
Yeah, I'll say the first name that stuck out to me was Cricket Meadows. Looking at it again this evening, I was like, oh man, the cricket field and then cricket, grasshopper, whatever we want to call it. I was like, oh, is that going to make it confusing? But it still brings some sort of recognition to it. And so, yeah, I like the Cricket Meadows. If we throw Hopper in there, but I think the Cricket Meadows is where I'm leaning as well. So, would someone like to make a motion?
Chair Langdon, I'll make a motion. We name this park Cricket Meadows Community Park.
I'll second it.
Have a motion by Director Danzel and a second by Vice Chair Mattis.
Director Sloan?
No.
Director Danzel?
Aye.
Vice Chair Mattis?
Aye.
Chair Langen?
Aye.
And Secretary Yearwood is absent, and the motion passes.
Alrighty, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
G2.
Item G2, adopt resolution 25/26-19 and authorize the general manager to record the grant and deed conveying title of real property of APN 067-2570-038-000, known as Butterfly Neighborhood Park at the Grant Line 220 development. And at this time, we received no speaker cards, and seeing no public comment, I will turn it over to Principal Planner Terry Zeller.
Thank you, Shelby. So nothing as exciting as naming a park tonight. But I have the next three agenda items. So G2 and G3 are both park sites in the same park development agreement, but are being requested separately. And so I'll start off with item G2, which is the adoption of the resolution and authorizing the general manager to record a grant deed. And this will convey title of real property in the site known as Butterfly Neighborhood Park in the Grant Line 220 development. This is the smaller of the two parks. It's on the west end of the development. And I believe in both staff reports, as one of the attachments is the site map that kind of gives you the orientation of those. So a little background. Back in 2022, in September of 2022, the Cordova Recreation Park District and Lennar Homes of California, LLC, entered into a park development agreement for the residential development known as Grant Line 220. The PDA was approved by the district board on September 27th of 2022 and recorded the official records of the County of Sacramento as document as shown with the 50 numbers behind it right there. So the park development agreement itself implements the City of Rancho Cordova's land dedication and the in lieu fee requirements pursuant to the Subdivision Map Act and the city's Quimby ordinance. So under this park development agreement, the developer is obligated to satisfy park requirements through the dedication of neighborhood parkland and or the payment of in lieu fees. And this is consistent with the Sun Creek specific plan and the adopted Quimby standards. So one of the required park dedications under the PDA is this one, which is Butterfly Neighborhood Park. It's the 3.1 acre neighborhood park. And it's located at 12569 Rosefinch Way in Rancho Cordova. Prior to the district acceptance of the park parcel, the PDA does require the developer to complete the site development to our standards and provide all the required conveyance documents. So the documents include the title report, title insurance, and then a grant deed. And so the developer has satisfied the key pre-acceptance requirements as outlined in the park development agreement. So they have provided those documents and has also completed the required site improvements in accordance with district standards. So the site is ready for development. Our district staff have reviewed the submitted documentation and the improvements and have determined that the park site is in a condition for the district ownership and development. As a result, the conditions have been met. So acceptance of the park parcel is consistent with the terms of the PDA, and it allows the district to formally assume the ownership of the site and proceed with the development of the neighborhood park in accordance with our district policies and our adopted plans. And as you know, the concept plans were adopted by this board some time ago. So as far as fiscal impact, the district will be responsible for the ongoing maintenance costs of the park, and that will be funded through the CFD 2018-01. And the result of the action is the adoption of the resolution and the authorization to sign the grant deed will allow the district to accept and assume ownership of the parcel, thereby conveying title to the Cordova Recreation and Park District. So that is my staff report. I can take any questions.
Director Sloan?
No question.
Director Danzel?
No questions.
Vice Chair Mattis?
On Butterfly, what is that HDR? That plot of land there behind it, or?
Oh, it's a high-density residential, so it's,
like an
I believe
apartment.
it's going to be apartments,
Okay.
yes. And that's part of the reason why we associated that park with the large playground that is conceptually designed there.
Okay, thank you.
And no comments. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I move the Board of Directors adopt Resolution 25/26-20.
19,
What? I'm on the wrong page?
94.
Oops. Where are we? 94.
Top of page 3.
Hold
Keep
on.
going. Keep going.
On the wrong page.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, it's
Right there.
middle of page 94.
Right there.
I move the Board of Directors adopt Resolution 25/26-19 and authorize the general manager to record the grant deed, which will allow the district to accept and assume ownership of the assessor's parcel number 067-2570-038-0000, known as Butterfly Neighborhood Park Parcel at the Grant Line 220 development.
Have a motion by Director Sloan,
Second.
second by Director Danzel.
Director Sloan?
Aye.
Director Danzel?
Aye.
Vice Chair Mattis?
Aye.
Chair Langen?
Aye.
And Secretary Yearwood is absent.
Brings us to G3.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Item G3, adopt resolution 25/26-20 and authorize the general manager to record the grant deed conveying title of real property of APN 067-2530-015-0000, known as Monarch Neighborhood Park at the Grant Line 220 development. And at this time, we received no speaker cards, and seeing no public comment, I will turn it back over to Terry.
Thank you, Shelby. So I'll be a little more brief on this one. It is the same recommendation, background, and analysis as item G2. And this is requesting that we authorize the general manager to record the grant deed on the real property known as Monarch Neighborhood Park. This is the East Park in the Grant Line 220 development. This is the park, which is approximately 5 acres, and it is located about 1,600 feet to the east of the park known as Butterfly Park, and that address is 12689 Rosefinch Way. The park development agreement is the same agreement that I just went over, and the park dedications are these 2 neighborhood parks, and the 4.96 acre and the 3.1 acre. And this park is also has received the proper documentation, which is the title report, the insurance, and the grant deed. And we have also reviewed the park site conditions, and the improvements have been done in accordance with our district standards. So we are determining that as staff that this park site is in a condition suitable for district ownership and development. And so as a result, the conditions have been met for this park site, and acceptance of the park parcel is consistent with the terms of the PDA and allows the district to formally assume ownership and proceed with development of the neighborhood park in accordance with our district policies and adopted plans. The financial impact is the same as in Butterfly Park. This will be an ongoing maintenance cost for the district, and it will be funded through the Park and Facilities CFD 2018-01. So that is concludes my staff report for Monarch Park, and I can also take questions on this. Thanks.
Director Sloan?
Didn't we have another park that was being built near a school and then they decided not to build a school there?
Yes, Exploration Park.
But was it, so this is 100% that there's gonna be a school at this spot?
I will say, I have no idea.
I have no idea. Okay. It's slated for elementary school, I'm taking?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, that's it.
Director Danzel
No questions.
and Vice Chair Mattis.
Will the school have easement to this park?
It'll be a fence.
Because it, I mean, it looks like a pretty small school, and so I'm
It'll
just
be a
wondering.
fence. It'll be a fence.
What's that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm just figuring, but I'm just looking at it, that's a pretty small school site, so it's just wondering if,
That'd be a question
for the school district at
Yeah.
that time, yeah,
It looks like most schools are building their schools now.
fence, especially Elk Grove, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that was really the only question, just,
They'll have
Okay.
access to it, but it'll be.
Yeah. As this moves forward, we might be able to answer that better at a future board meeting.
yeah, 'cause that school's probably gonna be a two-story school, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I imagine.
Site size.
Yeah.
And just to add to that as well, of course, we'll work with the school district, and if they want to put a gate in so that they can have access to the park, of course, we would obviously work with them so that that they could have that access. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
Chair Lane, I move the Board of Directors adopt Resolution 25/26-20 and authorize the general manager to record the grant deed will allow the district to accept and assume ownership as a successor's parcel number 067-2530-015-0000, known as Monarch Neighborhood Park at the Grant Line 220 development.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Director Danzel and a second by Director Sloan.
Director Sloan?
Aye.
Director Danzel?
Aye.
Vice Chair Mattis?
Aye.
Chair Langen?
Aye.
And Secretary Yurd is absent.
G4.
Item G4, authorize the general manager to execute a construction agreement in the amount of $1,179,736 with Field Turf USA, Inc. for the Mather Sports Complex South Soccer Field Turf Replacement Project. And at this time, we have received no speaker cards, and seeing none, I will turn it back over to Terry.
Thank you, Shelby. So this recommendation is for the Board of Directors to authorize the general manager to execute a construction agreement, which is also included in the staff report. And that is in the amount of $1,179,736 with Field Turf USA for the Mather Sports Complex, and this is for the South Soccer Field Turf Replacement Project. Just a little bit of background. At the August 20th, 2025 meeting, that's last year, the District Board of Directors approved the budget for the fiscal year 2025-26, which we are now in. Included in that budget is a capital improvement project line item for $1.6 million for the Mather Sports Complex South Soccer Field turf replacement. This project is a high priority for the safety and the ongoing operations of the Mather Sports Complex. Staff determined the use of California Multiple Award Schedules, otherwise known as CMAS program, is the most efficient and cost-effective approach for turf replacement. So a little background, CMAS offers a wide variety of turf products at prices that have been assessed by the state of California to be fair, reasonable, and competitive. And this program provides a pool of turf suppliers that a government agency can solicit offers from, so we can avoid the bid process. That's already been done through the state. There are several benefits to contracting through the CMAS, but the two most significant are the upfront pricing and the ability to avoid a long formal bid process. In July of 2025, Verde Design was hired as a consultant for the project, and the scope of their consultant services includes the project startup, the site investigation, which they've already completed, along with the analysis. The conceptual plans are complete. Also, their sub-consultant fees are included in that contract, and the solicitation of proposals and the construction administration. So Verde Design Incorporated has completed multiple synthetic turf replacement projects, including those in our district, and through those experiences has gained tremendous knowledge of the field turf industry. Verde Design is a landscape architecture and civil engineering firm staffed with multidisciplinary and problem-solving professionals that are passionate about recreation, sports, and the unique places that make neighborhoods special and communities thrive. So Verde Design is one of the top landscape and civil engineering firms in this industry. So a little bit more history. Back in 2008, the synthetic turf sports fields at MSC were open for use. So these fields have been a tremendous asset to the community's programs for both youth and adults, and for rentals, as well as a destination for regional sports teams. The ball field and fields were replaced in 2023, and the outfields and North Soccer Field are still in playable condition. But at 18 years old, the synthetic turf on the South Soccer Field has surpassed its useful life. The industry standard is about 8 to 10 years, so I'd say we've got our money's worth out of that one. It's time to replace the turf layer and the shock pad for this field. Within the next few years, the synthetic turf for the ball field, outfields, and the North Soccer Field will also need to be replaced to maintain the integrity and safety of those fields, and we will gauge that as we move forward in time. So Verde Design reviewed the CMAS proposals from the previous infield project in 2023 and determined that Field Turf USA Incorporated met the specifications. They're also competitively priced. They have an organic infill product with an established successful track record here in Northern California. Field Turf USA, therefore, was recommended by Verde Design for this project. So a little more background. The project will replace the synthetic turf at the South Soccer Field at the Mather Sports Complex. So included will be the removal and disposal of the existing synthetic turf and infill, and the complete installation of new drainage / shock pad, filter fabric, and the new turf, and the identified field to play lines and markings, which we've already reviewed and have found acceptable. Also included in this project is a yearly turf maintenance contract for 13 visits to groom, make repairs, and ensure the infill material is at the proper level. This contract will be in effect for the duration of the product warranty, which is 8 years from the date of field acceptance. MSC staff have not scheduled the South Soccer Field in the months of April and May, anticipating this turf replacement will be scheduled and completed during that time, and we've had assurances from Field Turf and from Verde that between April 1st and the end of May is plenty of time to get this work done. As far as the fiscal impact, this was included in our budget this year as a capital improvement project commitment of $1.6 million for this project. So after board approval, the general manager will sign the construction contract documents, and the contractor will be given notice to proceed so we can complete this project by the anticipated end of May of this year. And I can answer any questions. Thanks.
Director Sloan?
Any thoughts of why we got the extra 10 years on this playing field?
We
surface?
tell everybody to wipe their feet.
Oh, they
before
wipe their
then.
feet first? Is that what
Yeah.
it is? Is it not as used as much, or?
That would be a question for our Parks and Recreation Director,
I
or
just
our-
know that the technology is, I've gone to all these conferences and they're always showing new turf ideas, and so I thought maybe the newer ones they're putting in would go with a longer, more than 8-year warranty, because the products are getting so much better. I'm just curious where the standard is for this industry.
It depends on how much you want to pay for turf. So, I mean, there's, just like anything in life, there's different levels. There's a high level of turf that the NFL may use and colleges may use, and then there's recreational turf, which is what we can afford,
So
basically.
was the first 2008 we put recreational?
Yeah, but I mean,
quality.
technology has changed
Right.
since 2008. I mean, it's not, it hasn't changed that much. I mean, they're not, the infill may be a little bit different.
Right.
But other than that, the turf, has changed a little bit. Has the turf lasted 18 years? No. We've done a ton of basically spot replacements of that turf. We have spent, I mean, I could look up, but we've spent a lot of money on cutting out pieces of that turf that are no longer viable, and then replacing it. We just didn't have the $1.3 million to replace the entire south, soccer field. So it hasn't really lasted the 18 years. It's just that we've been patching it for at least eight, since I've been here, since 8 years.
So
for
the
8 years.
infield that they're using now, it cuts down on the heat that's generated from these playing fields?
Not really.
Not really? No, I thought they were
No.
working on something like that.
Not with the Sacramento sun. It's pretty brutal out there. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, synthetic turf is, it's, definitely a product that lasts, 8 to 10 years. That really is still the product warranty for most of the turf. And then you've got to think about how much play it gets. So I can tell you, like, we're already seeing wear patterns on the new ball fields because we use them 7 days a week. And so, and that's what they're there for, right? That's why we have these fields, is so that our community can enjoy them and use them and be there. So, we really have been talking, as a leadership team on how we replace the turf earlier than 18 years. And we still have 2 more fields to do. So we have the north soccer field and we have the outfields as well. But the south field is definitely the one that needs the immediate attention. And then we have to get to the other, 2 here in the next couple of years. So it's a good question. But again, you do get what you pay for. But really the higher end turf is more for the players because it's a little softer for them. It doesn't necessarily get you more years in playability.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
My question is going to go right back to Ms. Nuns. April, May, we're going to be losing the use of this field. What's the plan for the people who use that field for those 2 months?
Yeah, we gave them, 6, 7, 8 months notice.
Okay.
Yep, so we, as soon as you approved it, we gave them notice, basically. So that was good. So, right, Nina and her staff said, okay, probably April, May, we're going to shut this down. We kind of were talking with Verde Design. We were talking with Field Turf. And so it's slower months for us is April, May, June. So it kind of worked out perfectly, and that's why we waited this long to do that. We didn't want to get too hot because you've got the glue issue, right? So July, August, a little too late. So we were able to do our best to relocate them, but it's also a little bit of our off season, and then we'll move them throughout Mather as well. So if there's room on the north field or on the outfields and we're not using it, then they'll move there as well.
Perfect.
That's a great question. Sure.
That's what I like to hear from our staff, is that they put together a game plan months in advance and not just, oh yeah, that's right, we're going to have to. So
Yeah, Nina and her staff did a good job back in, August and September, saying, hey, this is coming, just to let you know, be prepared, and we've been communicating with them since.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Are these the soccer fields across from the Mather complex?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yep, they're the ones that by OES, Cal OES, those
over
2
there.
soccer fields.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the one closest to the Petanque courts by the water tower.
And how much use do we get for lacrosse?
We get some use.
Because I was thinking maybe in the future for this kind of stuff, we can do flag football lines.
Chase, do you have any idea how much lacrosse use that we get?
It's primarily from the high school, so St. Francis. Typically we use that, and we have a couple private travel organizations that utilize it as well. As far as lining the fields for flag, we have done that before, but it's been painted in.
Yeah.
So it's not sewn into the actual turf.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, like down the line, something to think about for another field when we do this, maybe integrating.
Yeah, you can always paint the lines in.
Okay.
We just sewing them in just lasts a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So just like Chase had mentioned, if another sport comes up and it's something new, you can also paint those in there.
Okay.
Or as you replace turf areas, you can actually get turf with the lines already sewn in.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can see that on the outfields of the baseball. We've done soccer out there. We've done
Yeah.
lacrosse out there. So, yeah.
All right, thank you.
The one question I have is, because we are in Sacramento and because it gets hot and those days that it's over 100, do we have a way to cool the fields down right before they play on them, or no?
It's a great question. One that I think the synthetic turf world is trying to figure out as well, because everybody thinks that just watering them down actually cools them off, and it does the opposite.
Oh, okay.
The humidity, then the water and the heat actually creates this really humid environment, which actually makes it worse for the players. So unless we're the NFL and could put coolers underneath our field, which would be absolutely amazing, they just haven't figured out how to cool down the turf. So yeah, it's amazing though that teams and players in Sacramento have kind of gotten used to it.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of cancellations even on, maybe those 115, 18, degree, days. Of course, we shut it down. We're like, you guys can't be out there. That's too hot. But they've just kind of gotten used to it here. So, but that's a great question. So no, not yet. Hopefully they can invent that, or it's going to be within the turf at some point that they're going to figure that out. So great question though.
Awesome. Do I have a motion?
I move the Board of Directors authorize the general manager to execute a construction agreement in the amount of $1,179,736 with Field Turf USA, Inc. for the Mather Sports Complex South Soccer Field Turf Replacement Project.
I'll second that.
Got a motion by Director Danzel and a second by Director Sloan.
Director Sloan?
Aye.
Director Danzel?
Aye.
Vice Chair Mattis?
Aye.
Chair Langen?
Aye.
And Secretary Ewert is absent.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. And that brings us to H, Board of Directors items.
For item H2A, there was no training to report this month, and item H2B is the community activities report. And at this time, we've received no speaker cards and seeing no public comment, I will turn it back over to you, Chair Langen.
All right. Well, I'm going to start at the end of the dais down there with Director Sloan.
Okay. Was able to attend a couple of events. One was on Saturday, January 24th at Stone Creek Park. The International Kite Festival was held out there, put on by the Sacramento Telangana Association, and very well attended. The weather the day before was like gray skies and threatening, and that day it was blue skies and beautiful. The next day it was gray skies and threatening and raining, so they really lucked out on the weather. There's a little bit of issue with the fact that if you fly kites over 200 feet, it obstructs the aerospace for the Mather Airport, so we found that out for the future, not having kite events at this park. The next thing I went to was Saturday on February 7th. I attended the district's Our Year of Impact luncheon at the Neil Orchard Senior Activity Center, and I was really amazed that the turnout was just so great. The event was put on very well. It was there's a lot of people that it takes to do our events and to help out for our organization here, and it's nice to be able to reward them and thank them for their volunteer hours and impact and all sorts of stuff they do for our district. I just wanted to say nice job. That's it.
Director Danzel?
I too attended the Year of Impact, and this is the second year of doing it, and just like everything the district does, it gets better and better every year. Staff works hard on recognizing our volunteers, and because, yeah, we've got paid staff, but we truly couldn't do everything we do without our volunteers. And so I thank them for, continuing to step up and do what they're doing for us. And it was a great event, and seeing the organizations that did win. And the other one for me was on Thursday, January 29th, was the CRPD Legislative Committee meeting. It's legislation, so it's always a fun topic to listen to. I know there's other people in this room that listen to it also. CPPG, who is the organization that Capri and CRPD uses as our advocates at the Capitol, they went over the state of play, just what's going on in the capital, the budget, things like that, and where we sit. And there are some things that we're watching and not getting involved in yet, which we can discuss offline because there's too many to discuss. But other than that, it was an interesting meeting as always, and we've got another one coming up next month. So that's it.
Vice Chair Mattis?
No events this year.
And myself, no events as well. Which would bring us to item I.
Item I1, district-wide monthly progress report for February 2026. And at this time, we received no speaker cards, and seeing none, I will turn it over to General Manager Patrick Larkin.
Thank you, Shelby. All right, some quick highlights from the past month. Thank you to the staff for the Year of Impact Volunteer Recognition event. On the cover of this month's really well done monthly report, we have Andrea and Laura also served food at this event, so we appreciate all of the staff. Sorry?
And Jim.
And oh, and Jim, yes, I'm sorry. How can I forget Jim? Serving our meal that Heather actually cooked. So kudos to all of the staff for truly making it a special event for our volunteers. Also, participated with the staff on a Narcan training, which will be included in our AED units, both at our facilities and in our new unit that's out at Hagen Community Park, and Jill will go into a little bit more detail about that in her report. I also met with special district leaders from across Sacramento County. We are currently looking at forming a new Sacramento County region chapter through CSDA. There have been bylaws that have been reviewed. I'll be a part of the leadership team to create the foundation of this new chapter, and so we're looking forward to getting that rolling. We're meeting again in March, and at that meeting there will be appointments to each of the executive chairs, chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer, and then we'll start off with most likely some networking events as well as bringing other special districts together for educational purposes as well. So that's pretty exciting for us to be a part of that. In our construction, right now Cal-Am is well underway with their construction at the White Rock Community Park with their well project. Staff is meeting with them on a weekly basis for construction meetings as needed for coordination. Right next to that well will come our new White Rock Community Dog Park, and it's in permitting phases at this point through the city. I like the name that y'all picked this evening for our new community park out there, so thank you for doing that, and thank you to the public for all of those submissions. I love the engagement. I love getting community involved and excited about our future park naming. Some updates on some grants. We reached out to the grant we have for Lincoln Village Community Park and Dave Roberts Community Park renovation projects, and we found out that there's now an anticipated award date in spring of 2026 instead of February, which we had expected before. On page 164 of your report, we now have a map that's included that will highlight some of the areas that we are activated with our park developments as well as subdivisions that are coming in. We're working closely with Elk Grove Unified School District in this area, so thank you to Laura and her team. We're establishing a great relationship with them, and we have to work closely with them because a lot of their schools will be adjacent to some of our future parks as well. And with that, I'll turn it over to our Director of Parks and Recreation, Jill Nuns.
Thank you. All right, good evening. So over the past month, staff participated in several collaborative meetings. On January 28th, my birthday, we met with Shelley Blanchard and Taylor Haven from the Cordova Community Council to review their 2026 special events planned in our parks. We discussed event dates, logistics, and insurance requirements to help ensure a smooth and successful event season for them. It was obviously very productive and informative, and we are in constant contact with them about insurance and their events and everybody who does events in our district, because we know that insurance requirements have changed. So that was a great meeting with them. And then on February 5th, GM Larkin and myself met with Rancho Cordova Police Department Lieutenant Garcia. We toured the Real-Time Crime Center, which was fascinating, and discussed the possibility of piloting camera installations in one of our parks. So we're still in discussions, more details to come in the coming months, but we're thinking about perhaps doing some cameras that would help with Rancho Cordova PD for them to just help monitor maybe some activity in one of our parks. So again, we continue to value our strong partnership with RCPD, and this meeting reflected our shared commitment to safety and collaboration. In Park Services, they continue to make a bunch of improvements throughout our district. In January, staff replaced or installed 140 bollards across 4 different parks. Whew, and that's quite the work. So that's a lot of bollards for sure. And then also, we continue to add the new 3-bin concrete trash receptacles. Those are those ones basically required by law. And so we continue to hit 3 parks a year until we complete them. We have completed all of the community parks where the law says that we need to have them because we have those event space, those pavilions. Now we're going to fill in the rest of the parks as we have money in the budget each year. So this year, or this current fiscal year, we put another one at Mather Sports Complex, Sandpiper Park, and Tuscany. And then in addition, the team also replaced several playground components at Independence Community Park and Prospect Hill Park to maintain safe and enjoyable play environments. And then on January 27th, the day before my birthday, CRPD recognized park maintenance worker Paul Stoddard, who retired after 19 years with the district. So Paul began his career at the Mather Sports Center, and he leaves behind a strong legacy of service. We're definitely going to miss him. So we thanked Paul, and we wish him the best of luck in his retirement. And I'm sure he will not be a stranger, and he will come by and say hi to us whenever he just feels like it. In recreation, our Winter Street Hockey League kicked off in January, and we have 60 young athletes, which is a new record for us. So street hockey is booming. It's exciting to see this program continue to grow, and we just couldn't do it without the staff and the volunteers. And then on January 3rd, it's aquatic season already. 72 aquatic staff members participated in their first in-service training. Whew, seems early, but it's right around the corner. They completed CPR and AED recertification along with customer service training, ensuring they are well prepared and strong for a safe upcoming season. At the Cordova Golf Course, even though January was cold, I don't know how you guys did it. Rounds were down, but money was up. So we increased 1.5%. I don't know how that happens. Maybe merchandise, maybe hitting off the driving range.
Brand new range balls.
Range balls. So, so good job to the golf course, even though it was cold. In community relations, a big shout out to Shelby and her team for our 2nd annual Our Year of Impact event. They led this event. The event highlighted our district accomplishments over the past year and then also celebrated the outstanding contributions of our volunteers. So I do want to say congratulations again to Charity Roberts, who won the Community Impact Award. Charity is a volunteer coach and mentor for players in CRPD's Youth Street Hockey League. So maybe we can thank her for our numbers going up, if possible. Ann Maris won the Stewardship Award and is an invaluable volunteer at the Hagen Community Barn. As you all know, we couldn't do it without our volunteers to help take care of the animals. And then, yay, the Senior Advisory Board won the Organization of the Year for the amazing work that they do for all of the members at the Neil Orchard Senior Activity Center. We just really couldn't do it without them. And then last but not least is Benjamin Harris, and he won the Volunteer of the Year Award. He is one of our outstanding volunteer coaches and mentors for our Youth Flag Football League. So congratulations to all of those volunteers who won the award, but also, like Director Danzler said, we really could not do it without these volunteers. So that's why we were able to do that presentation and give them lunch and just celebrate all the work they do. So again, a special thanks to Community Relations for coordinating the event and then all the staff who helped out. Chase also served some food as well, along with other staff members.
I can't say I'm over the podium there.
So, so Chase, yeah, a lot of people did. Yeah, and then a huge shout out to Heather Sheltsky, our recreation supervisor, who actually catered the event. And she cooked all the food and the lunch, and it was fantastic. So thanks to Heather for doing that. Also, a little bit more in community relations. Our top performing digital content this month included our Year of Impact recreation recap, the general manager recap, and then our polar bear plunge event. And then as you can see on page 176 of your board packet, there's a full list of upcoming happenings. So check those out. And then that concludes my report, but I want to wish everyone a happy Chinese New Year. Wishing you all prosperity, good health, and happiness. Thank you. That was yesterday, so that would be after my birthday.
Item J.
Item J is our articles, correspondence, and public outreach, and item J2 is our district calendar for February and March. And at this time, we have received no speaker cards, and seeing none, I will turn it back over to you, Chair Langen.
All right. So item K, closed session.
Item K1, liability claim pursuant to California Government Code Section 54956.9. Claimant Zachary Dyer, agency claimed against Cordova Recreation and Park District. And at this time, we received no speaker cards, and seeing none, I will turn it back over to you.
We will now recess to closed session at 8:11. We're now reconvening to open session at 8:19. Item K1, the Board of Directors voted unanimously to reject a claim against the district as presented by Zachary Dyer. That brings us to M, adjournment at 8:19 until the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Directors of Cordova Recreation and Park District on Wednesday, March 18th, 2026 at 6:30.
Thank you all.